What's going on, guys? Corey from Expedition. We got a 5th gen 4Runner here that we're going to be doing some install work on. There's been a casualty.
Oh, he's breeding.
So we're going to be putting a bunch of stuff on his 4Runner while it's here. We're going to be doing a C4 front bumper. We're going to be doing a C4 rear bumper, some lighting, a winch. So there's going to be a lot of cutting. There's going to be a lot of bashing, and it should be pretty fun. This guy's got pretty much stuff done to his 4Runner already. He is going to be installing some wheels and tires after we do what we're going to be doing. But he's got a really nice OME lift kit on there. He's got a roof rack on there from Sherpa and some other accessories and some lighting already installed. So I'm gonna get this thing pulled into the shop. I'm gonna do a quick mechanical inspection, make sure everything looks good on the lift, and then the fun can begin and I can start ripping the bumpers off.
All right, guys, we got Justin's truck in the shop. Corey's just quick doing our inspection. Whenever we bring a vehicle in, we just go over everything, make sure there's nothing that we can fix for them while it's here, topping off the fluids, making sure all the lights are working and whatnot. So once he's done with that checklist, we're gonna decide where we wanna start, either the front or the rear. If we do the front, that'll be the winch and all the lighting in the front bumper. The rear, we got the Baja Designs pod lights. So once Corey's done with this, we'll talk to him and figure out where he wants to get started.
So I'm gonna start back here on the rear of the 4Runner. We're gonna get the OEM rear bumper off. I'm gonna drop the spare. It's one of the things that you need to do to get the C4 bumper installed. And then I'm gonna start pulling this off.
All right, you guys can see Corey got the rear bumper cover off of the 4Runner. Set that to the side. That doesn't actually get cut for the rear bumper. The C4 is a full replacement. For the front bumper, however, we will have to cut the OEM bumper and reuse parts of the plastic near the top. He's just getting the rest of the little plastic trim pieces and checking where all the sensors are. There's some stuff that he's gonna have to relocate. And there's a bunch of stuff that we're gonna have to modify and or bend, bash out of the way to make clearance for the C4 bumper.
So we got the rear end of the 4Runner pretty much ripped apart. Back bumper is off, taillights are out. I just went ahead and removed all the unnecessary brackets and stuff like that that we're not gonna be needing. The factory hitch is removed. So now we can go ahead and start hammering things. These little hoops here for the spare tire, they need to be hit down to a certain measurement. And then over here on the wheel well for maximum tire clearance and stuff like that, we're gonna have to fold that in, I don't know, probably a good 1.5 to 2 inches so that this is flat. And then we'll repaint this whole section black so it looks pretty good. And then after that, we can go ahead and start putting on the new C4 bumper. I think there's plenty of clearance now for some nice tires. There's been a casualty.
A casualty? Oh, he's breeding.
So the other side did not have this little fender liner here. On the driver's side, it's here to block the filler neck for your gas tank. So I'd like to keep this here just to protect that. So I'm gonna bend these tabs out so that they're straight. And then when I go ahead and bend this whole section in, those tabs should then be back into the factory position of being this way, and then I can hook this back up with the clips, except it'll be more like that. Fun part is done. So now I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm gonna scuff this whole area up in here. I might throw some seam sealer on this area down here to just seal it up so it's not gonna have any problems in holding water, stuff like that. And then I'm gonna spray this whole section black. Since the bumper is black, it'll just kind of blend in.
Normal squares work? Like these bottom trays?
Yeah, that'll be fine. I'll just cut it. I just need like one. Sometimes you're gonna get me drinking drink. Oh look, Justin even, he left me some monsters in the door here.
Awfully nice of him.
One if I'm working in the back.
Wow.
He's prepared. So quick rundown on the lighting. I was just troubleshooting, making sure everything was going to work properly. We have the Diode Dynamics harness here for the hitch light. And we have the trailer hookup here. And then we have the S2s from Baja Designs. And I have a harness with a power and ground. And he wants these to turn on with his reverse lights, or when he puts it in reverse. So I figured the easiest thing to do, instead of running a switch all the way up to the front and powering it all the way up to the battery, I'm just gonna grab power from the trailer harness. So I just figured out which two wires were for the reverse lights. I tapped into those. This isn't permanent, I just did this so I could test it. So now we have power to the lights when the 4Runner is put into reverse. We also still have the pod light working as it should, so I'll just go ahead and give this a quick hookup. So now when the 4Runner is put in reverse, all three of those will come on. So now I'm going to go ahead and just wire that up so that is good, and move on to the next step.
All right, so C4 includes two of these little trim pieces. These go under the tail lights above the bumper to fill in the extra space when you remove the OEM plastic one. Corey's getting the passenger side fitted up and figuring out how these are gonna be mounted. Then we can move on to the next step with the tail lights and eventually the full bumper. You can see right here is about where we ended our paint line, where we added the black paint to help it blend. It's because this piece is gonna be right there to block it. So this is gonna look really clean when we get it all done.
Where does this go? The frame's gonna go right here. This.
So Corey's got the front bumper laid out right here with all the measurements to get this bumper cut, to get the front bumper mounted on. So obviously he measured several times to make sure it's right, but he also added an 1/8 inch so that there's actually going to be more left over than they suggest. That way, if the fitment's a little tight, we can always take some off, but you can never add it back on. So that was really smart on Corey's part. Any helpful hints or anything?
It's a little crude. It's like, oh, you just want to go from the bottom of the headlight. You have to bend the tape measure, so it's not 100% accurate. If I need to, I could always sand or cut more away. So I want to try to get it to look as good as possible and the fitment to be as nice as possible. So yeah.
All right, Corey's got the bumper removed and he's removing some of the rest of the fairings and plastics on the front end, and we're gonna have to also remove the front. All right. All right, guys, so Corey has the front bumper cover pulled off. He has everything measured and ready to cut. He's got it set up on the horse here. He's just pulling off a few of the other fairings. There were some plastics here directing air into the radiator that are gonna be pulled off. The OEM crash bar needs to come off, and that's where the C4 bumper's bolting on, right? Yep. And then right here is the power steering cooler, which is technically the factory cooler, but it's just a line. So that's what we're gonna be taking out to replace with the aftermarket cooler that came with the bumper.
Winch will be right here.
Yes, and the winch will be sitting right there. So what do you think? You're gonna be cutting this tomorrow, probably? Not gonna do that today. So he's just gonna get this torn apart, ready for first thing in the morning to get this cut and then get everything mocked up on the front end, and hopefully we can get that mounted up tomorrow. The scary part's done. Corey cut this with a whole lot of confidence. He's done this before, and the most important part is triple, quadruple check all your measurements. Now he's just going over the part that we're gonna be keeping, which is the upper third approximately of the front bumper. He's just cleaning up all the edges with sandpaper to get all the burrs and anything, all this extra little hairs off of there. It doesn't need to be perfect because we are gonna be putting an edge trim on there to clean it up, but it's always a good idea just to make it as nice as you can, especially some of these areas like across the grill and maybe down here where the fangs are by the fog lights. We might not be able to put the edge trim on there, so we're just gonna get them filed down, sanded down, and looking good, and then we can move on to the next step. Corey got the power steering cooler installed. All the lines are ran. He's got them all cleaned up. He's gonna bring the front bumper over. We gotta get the winch mounted and the lights, and we gotta pull some wiring harnesses over for the fog lights on the new bumper so we can wire them to the OEM switch. We're getting there. Where's Hayden?
Where is he?
I don't know.
Oh, he's back here. Hayden, I got you a present.
Bug?
No, it's not a bug.
Mouse?
No, it's an actual present. He probably already has one.
I know what it is.
Do you?
That's beautiful. The goose.
And he's got the shirt on.
Yeah, and I do have the shirt on. Oh, it's beautiful. Thank you.
Yep.
Middle finger goose or duck or whatever you want to call it.
I was like, oh, I have to get that.
Here we have the lighting that Corey's gonna be mounting in the front bumper. The C4 bumper does have mounting points, but they're intended for Baja Design's lighting products. We're gonna be installing these diode ones, so Corey's gonna do a little bit of custom fab to modify and add some metal to the brackets so that we can get these mounted in the bumper properly.
So I have adjustment forward and back, up and down. It's pretty good.
You happy with your cuts and the fitment on that?
We'll see when I go to put the other bumper on.
I'd say it looks good without the other bumper. So that's one of the bolts that you actually are going to be bolting the bumper on with, right?
Yep.
And you're just running it in from the back through the threads just so when we hang the bumper, there's just something for it to rest on.
Yeah, that way you're not struggling to get the bolt started. Just lift the bumper up and rest it on these bolts, and then you can get the other two started and then take this one back out and put it in from the front.
Do you think this bumper is going to be well hung, Corey?
I hope so.
It is their biggest one. It is their biggest and heaviest one.
Yeah, it's the heaviest.
So it's definitely well hung.
It does give you a lot of protection.
I'm not sure if that was an innuendo, but if this bumper was a condom, it'd be a Magnum XL.
Alright, so there's a bolt here.
That's the middle guy.
Got it lined up with the middle hole so it can rest on that. Just be careful on the blanket, because if you like try to like actually like push off of it, it's gonna slip.
Corey's getting the last couple of brackets put on. But for the most part, this is what it's going to look like. This is the final fitment.
All right, guys, we got Justin's 4Runner wrapped up. We got the C4 front and rear bumper on there, some lights, and the winch installed. Some steps of the way kind of kicked my ass. I had to make some custom brackets to make the light bar fit in the front bumper. And then the rear bumper, we were short on some hardware, so we had to wait about an extra day or whatever. And then just getting the rear bumper positioned in a location that made me happy. It took a little bit to get it there. This is the first time I did a C4 rear bumper, also the first time I did a C4 full front bumper. This one requires you to do a full cut all the way across. So that was the first time I did that, and honestly, I think the front turned out really good. Everything works properly, everything works great. We have the front pod lights hooked up just as if they were the OEM fog lights. So it comes on with the stock switch, and we have the back lighting hooked up with the running lights. The lights in the back bumper, we have that wired in with the reverse lights. So when he puts the truck in reverse, he's got plenty of light back there to see where he's going. So yeah, that's the full install here on Justin's 4Runner. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this video. And if you guys want anything installed, hit us up at yodaexpedition.com.